We're going to start off with a given rectangle, and we want to create other rectangles that have the same perimeter, in other words, the same distance around, and then look and see what happens to the area. To create these other rectangles, you just add to one side and then turn around and subtract the same amount from the other side. Let's start off with this rectangle that is 11 by 5. To find the distance around, we're going to add 11 plus 5 plus 11 plus 5. So the perimeter of this rectangle is going to be 32. We would like to build another rectangle with the same perimeter. So I'm going to subtract 1 from the width and then add 1 to the length. So 5 minus 1 is 4, and 11 plus 1 is 12. Going all the way around, let's verify. We would take 12 plus 4 plus 12 plus 4, and all the way around is still 32. Okay, let's make another rectangle with the same perimeter. So this time I'm going to subtract 3 from the width and then turn around and add 3 to the length. 4 minus 3 is 1, and 12 plus 3 is 15. Going all the way around, 1 plus 15 plus 1 plus 15 is still 32. What you're starting to notice, hopefully, is the amount of space on the inside is changing. So to find the number of squares on the inside in that top rectangle, there's 1 square, 2 squares inside, 3 squares inside. We can keep on counting, or the shortcut is length times width. So 1 times 15 in that top rectangle, that holds 15 squares. Okay, in that next rectangle, we could again just start counting the number of squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, but a shortcut to find how many squares on the inside is 12 times 4, and this time we get 48. So that rectangle is holding a lot more. I'm just repeating that process, 1 square, 2 squares, 3 squares. How many squares inside this one? 11 multiplied by 5 is 55. So this rectangle holds 55. Now it's time for an observation. The distance around all 3 of these rectangles is the same, but the areas are getting bigger and bigger, and that is happening when that rectangle looks more and more like a square. So let's create a square. To create a square, we need the length and the width to be the same. So that bottom rectangle, 5, I'm going to add 3 and 11, subtract 3, so I end up with 8 by 8. Let's just verify that we still have 32 all the way around. 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 32. Now, how many squares does this one hold? We're hoping more. So 1 square, 2 squares, 3 squares. The shortcut to find out how many it holds, 8 times 8. So this square contains 64 squares. So notice the shape that has the most area or holds the most area is a square. What you're going to do is start off with a rectangle, and you're going to create more rectangles with the same perimeter. So to do that, you're going to add to one side and then subtract the same amount to the other. If you want a rectangle that holds more area, then you're going to want the rectangle in front of you to look more like a square. So when you decide to add to one side and subtract the same amount to the other, keep in mind you want your shape to be more like a square. If you want less area, then you want it long and skinny. So add to one side and subtract from the other side to make the rectangle look longer and skinnier so that it holds less area.